Hi, and welcome back to She's in Charge of Business, the podcast for women that know they're ready for more. I'm Becky LaFave, your host and the founder of She's in Charge of Business. And together, we will unlock your confidence, clarity you're looking for to help you get out of your own way and into action inside your coaching business. Today, I'm so excited to share with you, Jane. Jane, I didn't even ask you how to say your last name. We'll get to it when we get there, but this woman, I really want to share with you, talk about sales. This is one of the things that we always get all tied up around. So let me introduce you to Jane really quick, and then I'll give you the lowdown about her. Hey, Jan, welcome.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Okay, so tell us, how do you say your last name?
Garee.
Garee. Okay, so it spelled a little different. So I thought, I know that's not how I'm going to say it. So thank you so much. Hey, this is the thing with me, being dyslexic in a world of all these names, it's just easier for me to ask and, say thank you later, right?
Yeah. Well, people always mispronounce it, so you wouldn't be the first one.
Okay, so I don't feel so bad. All right, so let me get into this, ladies, because this woman has been around the bush or two and has created so much in her life and has helped so many other women do the same. And so with her business owning, create selling strategies to the next level mastery of conversations. They serve more people, make more money, and realize their biggest dreams, all while having fun. Now, I always say this, and my husband says this to me, Jen, is if she's not having fun, she ain't doing it. And that has been my truth
That's it. Yep.
my whole life. So I love that's in here. With your 25 years of sales production, which is phenomenal, sales training and sales team management experience, Jen is award-winning salesperson known for breaking revenue records and providing leadership to individuals and sales teams to do the same. So welcome. I'm excited to dive right in this today, because this is literally one of the things that a lot of people worry about. I don't like to use the word struggle, because you know what? It disservices us. They worry about, right? It's more of a worry, a fear of unknown, all these adjectives that we could come up with. But this is a huge topic, and it's sales and what people think around the sales. So I always say, I have been in sales since a little girl. And let's face it, we all have in some form. So ladies, let me just ask you before we dive in. Are you married? Do you have children? Sister, you're in sales, right? I mean, is that an easy form to break it down to?
Are you roaming the planet looking for purpose? You're in sales.
Yes. And so I really want women to get super comfortable around this conversation, because it's always a conversation of salesy, sleazy. It's all these things that we heard growing up for most people. And frankly, I always looked at it as love, as service, right? It's service. I'm loving people. And because that's the world I grew up in. But as we get out there in this big world, I recognize that women have not grown up this way, and we don't speak that same language. So let's really break this down. So I've got some juicy questions for you. And ladies, really take in what she has to share today, because she's sharing so much of her goodness that I really want you to take note on what she's sharing and how she's going about doing it, because this is what you're going to end up utilizing in your own business every single day. This isn't just when I want to make a sales, right, Jan? This is your being. This is who you are. Would that be exactly right?
100%. Yeah. A lot of people feel like sales is something that you have to do, or even worse, selling is something you have to do to another person. Like, shh, don't tell anybody, but I'm going to have to go do this awful thing. And it is sad. It always used to break my heart, because sales to me is a very noble profession. And the reason why I think it's a noble profession is it changes the world, which sounds a little highfalutin. While you're in sales and you're changing the world. Yes, you are in sales, you are a business owner, and you're changing the world, because how do you change the world? One person at a time. And how do you change one person at a time? One conversation at a time. And so all selling is having a conversation with one person at one time. And there's an opportunity there for you to work together so that that person makes a decision to improve their life. So there you go. Sales is a really noble profession because it changes the world one person at a time, one conversation at a time.
Absolutely. And let me ask this question because I know this is one of the questions that a lot of people have on their mind is what is some of the biggest myths around about sales and selling? I feel like you kind of just spoke on that, but can you elaborate a little bit more?
Yeah, I can definitely dial down into some specificity here. So the biggest myth around sales is you have to always be closing. So if you remember that coffee is for closers, always be closing. Remember your ABCs. And it just puts this pressure that doesn't need to exist for you or for the prospective client. Because believe you me, when they feel like you're coming at them with this agenda to close, they feel it and they'll very naturally start backing up. Why wouldn't they? You do the same thing. So the myth is you always have to be closing. I've restructured that and rephrased it. So the new reality is you need to always be opening. You need to open a conversation. You need to open a safe space where somebody feels that they can come in and share what they've been feeling, what they've been experiencing, what their challenges are, and what they hope might happen instead. So when you're always opening a safe space and a conversation and a dialogue, what that really does is gives room to your prospective client to explore what it is they're thinking and feeling and to uncover some things that maybe they've never even said out loud to themselves. So if you focus on opening with some skill, then closing for the most part really will take care of itself.
Yeah, I love that because it just speaks to how I've always done it as well is it's an invitation, right? It's an invitation to learn more. It's an invitation to be able to see what's on the other side of serving. It's an invitation. And I feel like if you look at it that way, it's just like if you would invite your girlfriend to a party, or if you invite a complete stranger, like frankly, to a networking event or anything like that, it's just an invitation to the next, right? I mean, I feel like when I wrap it around in that, it feels just good inside. And that's what I feel like we need to have the conversation around is what feels good inside to you. Yes, there is, like you said, strategy. There is a way of being how you talk about it, but because I know most people are like, I get in the friend zone. You ever heard that? Like we just
Yeah.
get talking and talking, and I love them because I have that heart. Like I love them, and you forget like, hey, this is a business as well, and they really want to be served. They really want the invitation sometimes to either say yes or no to. Right.
Mhm.
And they're awkwardly waiting and you're too much in the friend zone to even ask. And I find that other people don't even know how to ask you if you don't get out of that. Would you say
Yes.
that? True?
Yeah, two of the biggest problems that actually happen once you are inside a sales conversation is getting into the friend zone. Hey girl, what's up? And you just start having this way too casual conversation, and you find out she loves tea and you love coffee and you want to go travel the world, whatever the deal is, and now you're kind of like buds. But it's not a conversation with a friend. It is a friendly conversation that needs to have structure to it so that you can skillfully facilitate it. So number one problem once you're in the conversation can be just too friendly, and you don't want to do that. It will derail the opportunity to really see if this person wants and needs to be helped and served by you. The other thing that happens in addition to getting too much into the friend zone is getting too much in the coaching zone. And so
Mm,
the tendency to coach or preach or pontificate or encourage or rah rah or let me tell you how I can problem solve this for you right now, that becomes a problem and will also derail the conversation, because when you do that, your prospective client really doesn't have an opportunity to see, do I have a problem? Is the problem big enough that I want to do something about it? Do I understand what's possible for me if this problem is solved? And then what do I need to do next to make sure that I am on the path to a solution? So when you overcoach and overtrain and you get really excited, which happens because we're just passionate about what we do, but
yeah.
you kind of preemptively and prematurely give this person the false impression that they have what they need to go do whatever they need to do, and it's all going to be okay. And it's actually not going to be okay. So friend zone is going to get you a lot of, this sounds really good, thank you so much, I have to think about it, and teaching and coaching and preaching and pontificating instead of actually facilitating a sales conversation is going to get your responses like, this was awesome, thanks so much, or no, I think I'm good. You might get a, I'd love to work with you, but I don't have the money right now, bye-bye. And all of that is just really, the onus is on you as the business owner to facilitate a conversation that allows somebody to get to their truth. And here's what I want to say about that, because this is really important. When you can facilitate a conversation that allows somebody to get to their truth, when they get there, they speak the truth. And when they hear their truth, they own it. And when they own it, that's the moment that any of us actually decide to do something about it. So speaking the truth, you can hear it, you feel it, you own it. And then you go, you know what, maybe I'm not okay. Or, you know what, I might've been telling myself I was making okay money when I'm really not. Or I'm telling myself I'm healthy and in a great state of wellness, but actually now that we're talking about it, that's not true. And that is the power of a sales conversation. And we're back to the beginning, which it changes lives.
Yes. And that is so true. I remember, when I first started the online business, it is different in a way that in my first business of how I would utilize sales. It's all of the same, but a little tweaks and difference. And I would find myself getting more into the friend zone because of the personality that I have, but also because I've been told, oh, you're too strong in the way you're talking. So I had to stop. It was like finding this balance of Becky, and really how I can really serve at my highest level to really support the woman on the other side.
Right.
And that's why a lot of women tend to get in that. And like I said, there is a structure to it. If you stick to the structure, they almost feel like, well, if it's the structure, I'm feeling too salesy. No, it's really doing a disservice if you're not. Right?
It is. There's a big distinction between, I think people get the term structure confused with old programming of scripting. So it's not scripted. You don't read some script. The scripts always crack me up because you can hear it. It's kind of like, Becky, I understand what you're saying. And when you decide that you want to have it's just crazy. You can hear their voice when somebody's reading. So you don't script, you don't want to read, you want to be fully present, you want to have an engaged conversation, and you want to become skilled in facilitating that conversation. And the skill of facilitating absolutely requires a structure.
Yeah, love that. That was golden nuggets, ladies. Okay, she's bringing the fire. So how has selling changed in the last several decades, and how has it remained the same in your opinion?
Yeah. What has not changed, what is the same and what will always be the same is this is a human to human connection. It is developing relationships. We have two sayings in my world that I always preach to my clients. People are not paychecks, so don't treat them that way. And you are building relationships, not resources, meaning you can't just go, hey, can I have a favor? Hey, can I hit you up for this? Hey, we haven't talked in a while, but you want to buy my stuff.com? So people are not paychecks, and you're developing relationships, not resources you can conveniently grab off a shelf when you need something from them. So the essence of a great salesperson is somebody who has the ability to, number one, listen, number two, be compassionate and sympathetic without getting lost in the story. That's a little too much, without getting lost in the story. And then who is able to really honor what this person is saying rather than go in with an agenda that I need to convince them to do the thing that I want them to do. So that's how sales has remained the same. Here's where it's gotten a little bit different. Lots of things have changed, but here's the good news. When you really boil it down to the essence, everything that I just said, that will never change. Human to human, listen, help them co-create a different kind of reality. What has changed is because we live in a 24/7 society, people can have access to information anytime they want. Even more, they can have access to a ton of information, and now they can compare and contrast. Consumers move faster, they're smarter, they're more savvy. With the growth of the online coaching and consulting industry, there's also been a saturation of the market to some extent, which means that clients or consumers, they're a little more jaded. They're a little more like, yeah, I've heard this. If I give you all my money, that's going to solve the problem. If I sign up for your program, magically everything's going to get better. So there are a lot of reasons why that has happened, but the reality is it has happened. So where it has changed, where the sales conversation has changed, it never was. A sales conversation was never about the ability to be a brilliant speaker. A sales conversation is about being able to be a magnificent listener and ask the right questions. If you can do that, then you will be able to navigate any changes the market experiences, any economy that happens, including people who are smarter, faster, savvier, and more jaded. If you can just stick to the fundamentals of this is a person, not a paycheck, I'm going to listen, not speak, and I'm going to give them the sacred space to speak their truth so they can hear it, so they can feel it, so they can own it, and then present them with a solution where they are fully empowered to say yes or no, and I'm not going to be attached to that outcome, you'll be good to go.
Yeah. Yeah, so good. And there's so much truth in that because, like I said, being in business myself for 33 years, you know, and it's been in the hair business, having women sitting in my chair, ladies, do we not talk to our hairstylist? But of course we do. And we share and we share and we share. And, becoming a good listener has always been one of my blessings, but I'm also a very big talker as well. So, learning both has been something very important in my entire career. So I would say definitely human connection, like I said, will always be, and always being a good listener is so important. So I love what you shared. So what is the number one piece of advice for getting new clients, would you say?
For getting new clients, for getting new clients, not forgetting new clients. As it, number one, be yourself. And some point to number one, there really is an energetic exchange. And what I have really seen over the last several years is there has been this intensity and this focus on what do I need to do? What do I need to do? What should I be doing? What should I be implementing? And you do need to do, you do need to implement. And if you don't take a beat, pause for a minute and ask yourself, who do I need to be to do the things that I need to do, to get the clients that I want to get, to have the kind of business I want to have so I can live the life that I want to live, you're going to go sideways pretty quickly. So number one to getting new clients is be yourself. And then a subtopic to that, pay attention to who you're being and less about what you're doing, understanding you still have to do things. So I would say that. And then the other thing that I would say, consistency in whatever it is that you're doing, it builds trust. So if you show up and you tank something and then you need to go hide for 3 weeks and then you try it again, that actually will create more of an erosion of trust than if you show up and do something, tank, give yourself 24 hours, come back the next day and go, well, that didn't go the way that I thought it would. So here's what we're going to do now. We're all fallible. We're all human beings. And
Absolutely.
what a lot of people do is be so concerned about putting themselves on in the throne with the image where everything is going really, really well. And I'm really, really excited and I'm really, really happy. And I made this much money and I've got this and whoa, my life is fantastic. And then, darn good and well behind the scenes, every once in a while, it's not going so well because that is the way life works. That is what it means to own a business. So there's real power in vulnerability when it's authentic and you're sharing appropriately. So if you are yourself, if you focus on who you're being, at least as much as what you're doing. And if you realize that there's power in sharing your failures or your learning experiences or your lessons, that will do a lot actually, because now people see, oh, she's a real person who has real issues. And every once in a while, she has some struggles. That is more relatable than the person in the ivory tower who's making X amount of dollars, flashing the yacht or whatever it is that they're doing. And it's all just marvelous all day, every day. That's not a realistic picture. And whether people consciously back up from you because of that or subconsciously do it, they're doing it. They want a real person who has a real life, who they can learn real things from.
Yeah, absolutely. I talk about this all the time because, women, they want to see your scars. Sometimes not your ish that you're going through right now because you're learning it, right? But share your scars because it's in the scars that people grow and end up loving you from because they can see where you've been and now you have the scar from it and now you've grown and this is where you're at. And it's in that vulnerability that real human connection were created. Like that's how women connect, period. We really do in the sharing. And I feel like I've been in this space for so long in doing this because I feel like just being a hairstylist, that's what we do all day long, right? At least I have with my clients. And given permission for them to feel the same way. But so many women that I've talked to over the years, they don't feel very safe to be
Yeah.
able to do that, to really be themselves. And I love that being, because that's where it's at. It's, I learned this old way of doing things too, is have, do, be, right? And when I finally woke up one day and heard somebody speak, like I could be, do, have, it was like, wait a minute, I have been doing all this wrong, and really started to shift my mindset around that, because I've been taught, like most of us, right? You got to have, you got to be all these things, do to have, and then you can start to be happy, be whatever you want it to be. And we've got it messed up. So I love that you share that, because it is the truth of the matter. You have got to be the human that you truly want to be, to have what you want. But in the middle, you have to do the thing. It isn't kumbaya,
Right.
and think it's magically fallen from the sky. Like,
Right.
this is the real secret to life.
Yeah, it's not all going to magically appear. And I just was reminded of a story, and this just happened a few weeks ago. I have a dear, dear friend, and she lost her mother.
Mm.
And so I said, I am here for you. It was all phone. She lives far away. But I said, I am here for you. If you want to talk, if you want to just sit and cry on the phone, I'll sit there silently and cry with you, whatever you need. And so she called me one day, and I just listened, and I just listened, and I just listened. And then she said, what about you? And I went, I'm fine. I'm okay. I'm fine. I'm okay. And she said, not so sure I'm totally buying that. And I said, well, I've been a little, over a certain situation, but frankly, I'm just kind of reluctant to share it with you right now, because it is nothing like losing a parent. And she said this, and I thought this was so incredible. She said, you know what? I would welcome the opportunity to talk about somebody other than myself. And it would
Mm.
feel good to know that I am providing help and guidance and wisdom, because now I am focusing on something outside of myself, and I am giving rather than feeling like I just need to keep taking all this support and the love and the people are giving me. And I thought that was such a powerful moment, because here I was so concerned, and it just kind of like, I'm just going to put on the face. I'm fine, because I felt selfish saying
Yeah.
anything. But the reality is, and this goes to the point that you were talking about, is women share. It's not, let's commiserate. Women share. Are you hurting? I can lend an ear. Do you need help? I can provide a shoulder. Do you need support? I'm here for you. And that, not that men don't do it, but we just do it differently. And it's such a power that we have as women. So how do you get new clients? How do you rock your sales? How do you build a successful business? You be a real human being who is willing to be real in front of other people appropriately, but be real, and then be there for other people.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And be there for other people. It's a reminder, this ain't all about you. Like, let's keep it real around here. This ain't all about you, even though it is your business, but the money shows up when you make it all about somebody else. I was just talking to one of my clients today, and I said, what is going on behind that is, and she said, I got a little bit of fear. And I said, okay, fear is just thinking about ourselves and not serving others.
Yeah.
Yes, we can have that little bit of, it's that courage to get to the next step. But that fear that really truly holds you back is because you're thinking about your own damn self, and you're not concerned more about somebody else and how you can serve. And so you're too much into your own mind. And that just goes back to everything that we just talked about today. So my next question is, and this is a big one, and I know that a lot of people get hung up on this, so I think this will be a beautiful thing that you can share, is when it comes to having your sales call, and you're really wanting to, like I said, you're not in the friend zone. You're really trying to stay focused and listening and all of this other, but the conversation that you want to now lead them into is your program or whatever you're offering. What does that look like for somebody? If you could just give an example for another woman out there to say, man, I took this nugget and it really served me. And it's like I had this aha moment.
Okay. I love this question, and I'm processing really quickly because I'm trying to think, that's some serious in-depth sales trading right there. Because the question I think that you're asking, I'm just going to say it in a different way, is how do I transition from having the conversation or the qualifying part of the conversation to making the offer? Because that's always the scary part, or this awkward shift in energy where here, and now it's like, here it comes, here comes the offer. So what's the quick answer on that? Here's the quick answer. The quick answer is you need to understand what their primary challenges are in the moment but in a way that you would know you would be able to solve it. So that's key. You have to understand what their key challenges are and know that it would be a good match. Otherwise known as you have the solution for the challenges that they're expressing. And then what you want to do is just kind of match it up. If I understand you're experiencing some challenges with having sales conversations, but when you have a system and a structure and the support and accountability to know how to facilitate a really great sales conversation, you will be making the money, you will be getting new clients, and you will fall in love with your business in an entirely different way. What kind of questions do you have for me? That's my hard close. My hard close is, what kind of questions do you have for me? And inevitably what happens, it's only two things. Either nothing, this was great, thank you, which is rare, or was that something you can help me with? Yeah. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, I love that because it's very simple. And really, if we think about it, it can be simplified in a way that it felt like you were sharing, you were caring, and this is an opportunity to move forward. And if it's a great fit, then this is a great fit for both of us.
Yeah.
And I feel like when you really take it down that notch, just right there, more women would feel more of this is an invitation for you to look at and move forward.
Yeah. Selling isn't pitching. And that's the other confusion that happens sometimes for people. Pitching is great when you need to pitch. But pitching is, okay, we put 2 minutes on the clock. Tell us why we should work with you. Tell us why we should hire you. Tell us why we should allow you on our stage. That's pitching. So pitching happens and there's nothing wrong with it. But a sales conversation is not pitching. A sales conversation is facilitating that conversation to get somebody to their truth so they can speak it, so they can hear it, so they can feel it, so they can own it. And then when they know that you deeply understand what their problems are, what they're anticipating as possibilities, if they just had whatever it is that they need to get there, then a very organic way of opening this invitation process, if you will, just happens.
Yeah, I love it. Well, thank you so much, because this was so much value given that I know this serves somebody. I know somebody got a nugget out of this. So ladies, here's the time that you really want to, where I like to say, embrace it, own it, and celebrate it, because you are learning something new today. Maybe you took one piece of nugget away. We would love for you to jump in and let us know, what was the one nugget? What was the one thing that you said, Jan, that rocked? I'm going to take this and move forward. If it was a mind shift, if it was a little bit of the language that she's sharing, let us know what that is that spoke directly to your soul, that you're going to move more further into your business, because that's why we're here, because that's what makes us in charge of our business. So thank you so much, Jan, for being here. I appreciate your time. Tell us, where can our audience find you best?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can, I love getting emails. I love communicating with my audience and hanging out with them. So you can reach me directly at jane@showstoppingsales.com. That's jane@showstoppingsales.com. If you really want to follow my travels, because travel is a big piece of my business. So I like to teach other business owners how they can travel as much as they want without missing a business beat. You can't do that if you don't have income, which means you have to know how to sell. But you can always see me on Facebook, follow my travels, super engaged audience that I have over there. I absolutely adore them. And we have some wild conversations. So you can email me directly, check me out on Facebook. And I also have a gift. So can I tell them a little bit about that?
I'll actually have that inside everything where they're reaching this, either on Facebook or in our podcast or even in our emails. So let us know what your little gift is, but know that the link will be there for you, ladies.
This is now I wrote it, so I'm biased, I'll fully admit, but I've read plenty of sales books that are very dry and they're very boring and they tell you what to do. So what I have created is called Unlocking Effortless Sales, Mastering 7 Stressors to Confidently Win Clients and Create Cash Flow. It's a little cheeky. It's a little irreverent. It's a little bit humor in there, but I really wanted to share with people that sales isn't this big, bad, scary thing. It's just having a conversation with some skill. Yes. But I think you'll really enjoy this. It really kind of makes sales humorous.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to get the link and share it out, ladies. Make sure you grab your hands on that, because I just know, for just by hanging out with her a little bit, and we've had our back talks back and forth, that you're absolutely going to love Jan and all the things that she shares with you. So thank you so much once again for being here and sharing all of your knowledge, that over the 25 years that you've been able to not just support yourself, but so many other people along the way. So thank you so much for sharing that with us today.
Oh, you are so welcome. It's been a joy and a privilege to be here, and I hope everybody has their anxiety around sales or lessened a little bit, and their confidence around having selling conversations boosted.
Thanks so much. Talk to you later.